Good morning, Superintendent Webb. Michael Saltman and I are here, and we're very appreciative of it, of the opportunity. And Michael, do you want to begin with the questions?
Please introduce yourself and provide a little background. When did you come to the islands, and what was your path to becoming a superintendent?
Thank you, Michael. Larry, thank you for having me today. A little bit about myself is I've been here, this is starting my 7th year. I actually came to Orcas Island from Oklahoma. I was serving as an assistant superintendent at that time. Prior to that, principal, assistant principal, 5th grade teacher, and actually started my career off as a custodian working my way through college. So I've done a little bit of everything all the way through the system. But we made that transition here with my family, and it has been a wonderful transition to Orcas Island. We absolutely love it here, and my family has thrived here.
What are the key challenges that need to be addressed in order to continue quality educational programs and services for our youth while reducing the risk of the spread of COVID-19?
Key challenges for Orcas Island School District, really it comes down to, I feel like, 3 items. One is the health and safety of our students, that safety of following the proper protocols from the Department of Health, and the health side of it, mental and physical health going forward. Another critical issue for us is equity for all of our students and removing those barriers that we're seeing. We work hard to do that, and it's not that we're just doing it during this time, it's actually a lens that we look through all the time. The other aspect as far as key challenges during this time is support for our families and our staff. So really that professional development for not only our staff in how to run our management system, but also for our families to understand how to log in and how to support their children at home. This is the critical points for us.
What did you learn from your experience providing distance learning last year that is influencing changes and improvements for this fall?
As we go forward and we reflect back on our experience in the spring and moving to the distance learning, I have to say how proud I am of our staff and how quickly we were able to do that. That was really thrust on us very quickly. We had a very quick turnaround. And a lot of that goes back to our experience with Google Classroom, and that we had that, and we had it in the district, and we've been using it for a while. But knowing that, and knowing that we did this very quickly, and we had that flexibility at that time from the state to be a little bit looser in things, we really knew that we had to get some feedback from staff and parents to evaluate how we're going to go forward if we're going to do this long term, and we have the time to plan for this. So we sent out surveys. Using that information and input from our families and from our staff, we really have ramped up the expectations for this fall. What we heard was that we really need a set schedule. So everybody needs to know when they need to be on and when they will be finished for the day. The other thing is a single point of entry. Knowing that a lot of our families have multiple children in the system, we need one way to access Google Classroom, Google Meets, and that makes it easier for the parents. So we've done that. The other aspect of it is simply providing more rigor. They really felt like that we were a little loose and didn't provide enough rigor, not knowing how much homework and how much work in Google Classroom that we could do. And so we've ramped that up this year, really listening to our families, and we have that in place ready to go.
What equity plan do you have to specifically address the diverse needs of typically underserved, underperforming students, such as those in low-income families, Black and Brown students, and students with disabilities?
As we go forward and we start to really look at our distance learning plus model and looking at equity, how we go through that. As a district, the admin team 2 years back went through the Washington State Leadership Academy. And we really started looking at that and examining everything that we do in the district through this lens of equity. Our job is to remove those barriers to make all of our students to be able to be successful. And that's what we're doing during Distance Learning Plus. We're looking at all the expectations of our students, our student groups, and how do we remove those barriers. That could be as simple as putting multiple meals in a box and sending our buses out to students who don't have transportation here. It might be a special night for our EL students to come in which we have interpreters, translating everything that goes out from the district. Maybe it's looking at low-income students and families who struggle to pay that reduced rate for meals. So we have a support network that will help fund that, and we can provide that to them. So everything that we do from our classified staff up through administration and school board looks at removing those barriers to make it equitable for everybody in our district.
What plan do you have to support parents and families who elect to homeschool their children or form neighborhood pods and need coaching and instructional materials to effectively teach their children?
So for Orcas Island School District, how we're going to support our families during this time, those that are homeschooling and in pods as well. The great thing is that as a staff, as a system of Orcas Island School District, we really decided that we needed a orientation for our families. So for the first 2 weeks of school, we're going to bring students and parents in very small groups, following all the health safety protocols, and we're going to spend time face-to-face with our students and our families, and we're going to get off on the right foot for Distance Learning Plus. The second week, we're going to bring those parents and those students back in, and we're going to reinforce what we talked about previously. And that way, we're all on a really good foot going forward September 14th. So it's a slow start for us, but one that is critical as we move forward and we have parents supporting students at home. The other great thing about Orcas Island School District is that we have the OASIS program. The OASIS program is a parent partnership. It's an ALE program that we have. It's one of the top ones in the state. It allows us, for those families who really just don't feel comfortable yet doing the distance learning, they can go into OASIS. They can educate their child at home with the support of a certificated teacher and curriculum provided by the district. So we're able to reach our families that way as well. The other great thing about Orcas Island and San Juan County in general is the support of the local community. We've really relied on PTSA and their president, Michelle Rodriguez, to help structure the pods. She's worked with the Fun House and Camper Kyla, who will provide physical spaces for our families. Their students can attend there as well. They are currently hiring more staff who will work closely with the district staff so we can provide the best education possible. We know a lot of our families still have to work during this time. And as an organization, we want to be able to work with other organizations on the island and support the island children. And that's really what it's about. And we're going to get through this together, working together, all the organizations on the island and the community.
School held in buildings requires significant space changes, PPE resources, sanitation, COVID testing, access, and other considerations. How well prepared are you to hold school in facilities this fall? Are there viable options for meeting with smaller groups of students?
As far as working with the space and having students on campus and PPE, I have to go back to the work that's been done by the district over the summer. We created work groups. We had a work group for the space issue here on campus with our district facilities director, Larry Metcalf, and his team. They've done a wonderful job. We've walked the spaces with administrators, and really for us, being a small district is an advantage right now. We're utilizing all of the space in our buildings. A goal for us is to have students K through 5 on campus. That's really what we would like to have happen. It's a priority for us. So we've stepped out and we've hired 7 additional paraeducators And we're looking at splitting our elementary classes into 2 cohort groups. And we're developing classroom space for that. Again, we're having to maximize all the space that we have, and we're utilizing common areas and outside areas. But the goal for us is to have 2 cohort groups for each class and be able to get students back on campus when it's really safe. As far as PPE, as a district, we have joined a purchasing cooperative out of ESD 112, and we have submitted a large order for PPE. We will have it available when students return, and for staff when they return, and they're working in small groups in the meantime. We have that PPE available. Everything from the 30 new hand sanitizing stations, the 7 sinks that we're installing in the hallways of our building so we can have proper hand hygiene throughout the day, to the mask that is needed by visitors who come to our building. The other work group was with our school and district nurse, Cindy Sapp, who's created the health screening forms. Everybody who comes on campus will be required to complete a health screening form along with a temperature check in order so that we can keep all of our students and staff safe.
What safety protocols do you have in place for when staff and students return to the buildings? What protocols are in place should someone become sick with COVID?
In the event here at Orcas Island School District that we happen to have somebody who's been exposed to COVID or test positive to COVID, really for us, it's about working closely with Dr. Frank James, the health officer for the county. We would report that to them at that point. They would take over the contact tracing. Again, everything that we've set up keeps students and staff into cohort groups. That's critical for us, so that if we do have a positive case here, we may need to self-quarantine a cohort group, but as a school district, we can continue to offer services going forward. So that's a priority for us, and that's part of the planning that's been done all summer and has been a common thread through everything we've done, whether that's the in-person model or even the distance learning plus model that we're establishing. At that point, we have a really close relationship with Dr. James and his team, and they've done an amazing job. We communicate weekly with them. We would notify our district and the community as well that we would have a positive case and the next steps that would be handled. But basically at that point, we would turn it over to them and we would follow their direction.
How many children depend upon school lunch programs and daycare? How do you plan to support them throughout the school year?
As far as supporting our students in meals for the school and for childcare, we're really going to continue on what we're doing over the summer, and we were able to refine our process over the summer. Child nutrition staff is amazing. We have that flexibility that we can package meals together for the week. We have surveyed our families, and we know the best time that they can come through and pick up that box of meals. And for Orcas Island School District, when you think about it, it's interesting that when I go off island and you talk about Orcas Island School District, everybody thinks of that $11 million home up on the hill. The reality is a lot of our students, K through 8, we're almost at 50% free and reduced lunch. So for us, we know this is a critical piece for our families. And so we built that over the summer. We've used it, and we're going to continue it into the fall. We will provide the week's worth of meals in one box. Families can stop by, curbside service. We will put that in your car. We will mark down your name. It's funded by category because we don't have that waiver yet to provide it to everybody free. And we will go forward and provide meals throughout the entire year. That has been a focus and a priority for Orcas Island School District, and we'll continue that. As far as childcare, really it goes back to working closely with those other organizations on the island, leveraging PTSA, who is a great connection to our families, Funhouse, Orkyla, Park and Rec. The other organizations are really stepping up, and we're very proud of them helping us through this time. And they're going to provide physical spacing staff to cover those pods that is being developed, and we have that working relationship with those individuals then who are manning those pods. So it'll really be like having just an extension of the classroom in these other locations as they follow those cohort groups that is critical for us to maintain.
Assuming that schools are closed, how are you planning to support students with physical, mental, or emotional challenges?
As we go into this distance learning plus for Orcas Island School District, a key focus for us is the social and emotional health of our students and our staff. We're fortunate that we have an amazing team at Orcas Island School District, and we've worked over the last 6 years to put this into place. Everything from our counselors to our social workers to our safe advocates, which is student and family empowerment, as far as working with those students who might need that social and emotional support. It really comes down to communication and relationships. And as a small school, we know our students and we can work directly with them. The other thing is we want to put our eyes on our students. It's critical that we see them and we do a check-in. We have foundation programs, PBIS and Character Strong, which reinforces what we do, but it's really that connection with our students and being able to see them. And so for Orcas Island School District, it's that meal pickup is a chance that we have our counselors, social workers, and safe advocates out there visiting with the students as they come through to pick up meals. It's also that opportunity and partnership with Camper Kyla that really will allow them to spend the day with our students. So K through 8 will receive 1 day at Camper Kyla, full day, in which our cell team will be out there with them, participating in the activities with them. They'll be able to do that temperature check. How's things going? What's it like? How can we support you during that time? And that's critical for us and for the health of our students. The other side of that is we really don't want to leave out our employees, our certificated and classified staff, and everything that they're going through during this time. There's nothing more that we want than to have our students back on campus and be able to see them, and that's difficult. So as a district, we support them as well, and we allow them to have different opportunities and to have some fun along the way, and that's critical for us. It's also team building for us.
What are the costs that need to be considered? Where will the funds come from? What other community resources are you tapping to support educational programming goals?
For Orcas Island School District to put things into place that really will benefit our students, and we're talking about splitting cohort groups, our elementary K-5, splitting the classrooms into 2 cohort groups and adding additional paraeducators and adding days for K through 8 at Camper Kyla. All that comes with a cost. For the district, the school board has been willing to use some fund balance to help cover the cost of that, but definitely there's not enough that we can do alone. And we have to leverage the other organizations that we have on the island. And it's been wonderful that our island, our community, and these organizations are stepping up. So currently we're working with the Orcas Island Education Foundation, President Janet Brunell, who is also fundraising to help pay for some of these, and the Orcas Island Community Foundation under Hillary Canty. They are working as well and will provide support to the district so we can maintain this not only during the time of distance learning, but for the entire year. I have to also say that recently Orcas Island community has supported the school district in a school levy, our EP&O, which passed at over a 70% rate, which tells us that we're doing things correctly, and we're going to continue to do that, and we really appreciate the support of the entire community.
What thoughts do you have about how our communities can work together to support quality education in this time of crisis? What do you appreciate about working and living in this island community?
For Orcas Island School District, it really is about the children of the island. whether they're private school, whether they attend the public school. Our goal and our mission here is to educate the students of the island. We want to work closely and have worked closely with all the private schools on the island. We have frequent communication with them. It's great that even San Juan County and working with the other school districts, that the other superintendents and I, we meet weekly. We communicate. We also meet weekly with Dr. James. It is really a wonderful place to live. In my career, I've always lived in small towns. This is a unique situation on a small town on a small island, but it also works to our favor. And it's been amazing here how we can work together and we can have and solve the challenges that face us. It's through this connection that really makes a difference. I have to say that I have not lived anywhere else that has this support of all the organizations in one place with a common focus, and that's the students of the island. So everything that we can do to help one another, Orcas Island School District is more willing to do that, and we'll step up and help with that. It's the staff. It really is. It goes back to the quality people we have and the hard work that they've done and the systems that we have put into place that really makes it successful for us. And it is about the students. During this time, as long as we focus on the students and their needs, we're going to be okay. Mm-hmm. And we're in this together.
Great. Thank you so much for your time.